Hello, and welcome to another episode. Are we calling them episodes, Mr. Ron? To another session.
Another podcast.
To another podcast with Severe Cinema. I'm Kelly.
I'm Ryan.
And together we are Severe Cinema. Today we are talking about Aliens 3.
Alien 3.
Alien 3. We've been... wait. Is there... Okay, so there was Alien.
Mm-hmm.
And there was only one alien in that movie, right?
Yep.
And then there was Aliens, and there were multiple.
Yep.
In Alien 3, there was only one alien.
That's correct.
That makes sense. Anyway, we're talking about Alien 3 because we've been on our space movie / alien movie kick because I had never seen them.
What was it that I apparently said to you? Like, how are we doing? How can we do a movie podcast if you haven't seen Aliens?
Yeah, that was almost exactly what you said. It's like, I've never seen any of the Alien movies, and how can we do a movie podcast if you have never seen Aliens? Pretty much exactly like that. It's on one of our podcasts. Go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had never seen them. So Mr. Ryan has been coming over to my house, and we've been watching them together. And they are fantastic.
Well, Alien 3 wasn't.
Well, right.
But,
like, in general, they're fantastic. Alien 3 was very, very meh. Especially because there was only one alien. I think, like, if they had been trying to, like, fight back a swarm of them, I don't know. Could have made it a little bit better.
it was a transitional movie.
Yeah, it was a big talker. There was a lot of talking, conversing, Ripley boning dudes.
She boned one dude.
Ripley wanting to bone several dudes, but only boning one dude.
Okay, there we go. I've been in space a long time, even though I wasn't conscious.
Right. I've been out there a long time. You've been awake for 15 goddamn minutes. Why don't you chill out?
Well, I mean, so like when you can kind of tell when you've been asleep, like how long you've been asleep, kinda. Right. It's like you know the difference between sleeping 3 hours and 10.
Right. You at least notice that difference. But one thing that we can't verify at all is whether or not you would notice that difference among days. Like, can you tell the difference between sleeping for a week and sleeping for a year?
And then in the first movie, she slept for like 50 years or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah. So I would guess not. I would guess that sleeping for a year versus 50 years, you still wake up and go, that was a good nap.
Yeah.
And
how's the coffee, Mr. Kelly?
I haven't tried it yet, Mr. Ryan.
Damn it.
I have whiskey.
Okay. But your coffee's getting cold.
Well, my whiskey's getting warm.
Touche.
Oh, that's good, Joe, Mr. Ryan. As always. I have 4. So for the viewers out there that want a little bit more in-depth into the life of Kelly, you don't, I promise. I drink a lot of liquids.
Stuff.
Yeah, stuff. Literally, my section of the desk right now in front of me, I have half a bottle of water. I have half of a large soda. I have half a glass of whiskey. And I have half a cup of coffee.
And his cup of coffee is...
Well, it's a little more than half, I guess. Yeah, I will end up having drunk all this. I will.
Except the water, that's been there for months.
Well, right. That's a good point. But the water's there in case I end up not having anything else. And I get parched, which I do often because I drink a lot. About 5 minutes from now, I'll have to pee very, very badly. And I just won't until after the podcast. And it'll be the first thing that I do.
Well, we're not live today, so we can
oh yeah,
break anytime you want.
So we could do as many pee edits as needed. Pee edits.
When I worked for the
myself.
county, that was called down the hall.
Oh.
Hey, I need a down the hall. Cool, I got you.
Nice. Somebody at my work the other day called it a bio break. And I felt weird.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, no. I don't like that at all.
No.
It was an individual in HR. It was a human resources individual who I like a lot. This guy is awesome. But he was like, hey, gotta take a bio break, and then blah, blah. And I was like, that's not a thing I've ever heard before. And it's not that weird. I mean, I'll literally announce to the supervisor next to me that I'm going to go squeeze the lemon whenever I go. So it's not that it creeped me out. I'd never heard it before, and I was taken aback, and I was like, bio break.
Do you mean biological? And they would be like, yes.
No. He's going to go into the break room, and he's going to watch another 5 minutes of Biodome with Pauly Shore.
Oh. That can't be good.
It was pretty good. I loved Biodome. But then again, those were the kind of movies that got made in that time. You had Biodome, Encino Man, Son-in-Law. I assume you didn't watch any of these.
I watched Encino Man.
With Brendan Fraser and Pauly Shore and third guy. So, way fucking tangent there. We talked about my drinks, and now we're talking about Pauly Shore and Encino Man. So back to Alien 3. Mr. Ryan, I always ask you to do this, so do it. Break down the plot of Alien 3 for us.
No problem. So Flight Officer Ripley got promoted somehow, and she's a lieutenant now. Did you notice that?
Yep. All she wanted to do in the whole fucking world was be a flight officer.
Yep.
So they send her out on this fucking rock full of aliens. She's the only survivor, and now she's a lieutenant.
So we'll do a little recap.
Maybe Corporal Hicks promoted her officially before they went to... That doesn't make any sense.
Well, she's not military. She's company.
That's true. Nobody had any right to promote her to...
And so what I would assume flight officer is kind of like being a warrant officer, like in the Army and the...
That's how I pictured it.
I don't know what other services have warrant officers. The Air Force didn't. But so if they were in the same chain of command, she would outrank him by a long shot, if that was the case, but it wasn't. Anyway, so Alien, the 1979 movie. Flight Officer Ripley was the pilot of the ship. Alien got on board, killed everybody but her. Alien got sent down to one of the company's terraforming planets. And so now we're in Aliens, so Alien 2. Company lost contact with this world that they were terraforming, and since it represented a substantial investment, they're like, hey, Colonial Marines, can you go help us out? We got a problem. And so they sent Marines, and Ripley went with them as an observer / expert.
Because she made a bad decision.
Yeah. And so then they fought the aliens, many aliens, including a queen, and only Ripley, Corporal Hicks of the Colonial Marines, and a 10-year-old girl named Newt survived and got onto the ship in orbit, and then went into cryo, and then attempted to reach a friendly planet or outpost by traveling at sublight speed.
And Bishop.
And Bishop the android, yes.
And an android named Bishop, who saved Ripley's ass.
So now that brings us to the movie we just watched, Alien 3. And this would be my first time watching it.
And mine.
As well.
Yep.
So we were in that together. Now, I knew a little bit about the movie already, but I had not seen it. Anyway.
The only thing I knew about it previously, period, was that I'd seen this image before on the internet. That was it. I didn't even know it was from that movie. This could have been from the first movie for all I knew. But then I saw it during the movie, and I was like, I know that! From the internet. All right, so that's all I knew about it, so go ahead.
Okay. So, Alien 3, they happen upon or they crash land somehow. We're not really sure how this happened, but they crash. Actually, it's an ocean landing, right? They crash into the ocean.
Yeah, they crash into the water.
So their pod...
Because she washes ashore covered in oil.
And the girl drowned.
Yes.
Okay. So their pod containing their cryo chambers crashes in the water in the ocean part of this planet, which is a prison labor colony. So they send prisoners here that have been convicted of violent crimes and put them to work. And there's an administrator, a doctor, and like some other dudes that are not
like
prisoners.
Administrative assistants.
Yeah, there we go. Because we want to say guards, but there were no guns or anything here. So
Right, they didn't really need guarded.
Because there was no way off.
Right.
The planet. So they crash on this planet. What were they? They were mining minerals, right?
Yeah, it was a mineral or refinery.
Okay. So that was the sole purpose of this planet, is to mine its resources, and they had prisoners doing it. And she brought with, so when she was the only one that survived, so Newt, the 10-year-old girl, drowned. It's like her pod was cracked open and the water got in and she drowned. And then Corporal Hicks appeared to have been face hugged and his chest was like splayed open.
But I think it was just trauma from the crash.
Okay,
and I think he ended up just being smushed to heck.
That very well could be. So both of them dead. Now Ripley's the only survivor once again.
Again.
She is brought in and welcomed somewhat into the prisoner community. They signaled for rescue, and once the company found out who it was and what they were dealing with, an alien, they're like, oh shit. Their dicks got pink.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they sent a
squad of goons.
Yeah. Turn my ringer off and shit. There we go.
Excuse me.
So anyway, the movie is about Ripley and the prisoners trying to survive against this alien who face hugged a cow.
Yep.
And then made an alien cow hybrid.
Yep. And we were actually able to verify that. So Mr. Ryan had mentioned that in, is it Prometheus or Resurrection?
Alien versus Predator.
Alien versus Predator. The alien face hugs a predator, and there ends up being an alien predator hybrid that is born of that. And so he was wondering while we were watching the movie, okay, well, we're about to see this thing bust out of a cow. Is it going to be cow-like? And at first we didn't think so, and then we realized that it was. It was running around on all fours. Its head was shaped slightly differently.
And Ripley, so when it was actually confirmed, Ripley was like, this thing moves differently
than anyone we've ever seen.
Yep.
Because all the ones they've ever seen before had...
they were bipedal.
Right. They had been... Symbiosis isn't the wrong word. But humans had been their hosts. And so they ended up bipedal and tall and large and had longer arms than they do torso, and it was more human-like. This was like you could tell this had been with an animal. Where was I going with that? I think that was it.
You were just helping me explain the cow.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'll wrap up the synopsis, and then we can get into the discussion. So the movie's just about them trying to survive and kill the cow alien hybrid. And it is then discovered that Ripley is mother to one of them. We don't know yet, or I know because I've seen Alien Resurrection, but at the end of Alien 3, the viewer is not supposed to know what exactly that means. Now, it does not mean that she was face hugged and then gestated an alien is going to burst out of her chest. That's not the case here.
Okay. That's what us as the viewer don't know then. Because based on Ripley's testimony in the movie, she says, like, I've got a queen inside of me. Like, I'm growing their queen.
Oh, that's right, because it was a queen. That's right.
Right.
Okay.
And so all we know as viewers is there's a queen inside of her. So we assume that in cryo or something, she got face hugged by a queen layer or some shit. We don't know. What probably happened, I would guess, is when she was on the planet that they were terraforming, when she encountered the queen, it probably fucked her somehow because she's a horny bitch.
Yeah.
And now she's pregnant, or I don't know, maybe medical officer dude like impregnated her with a queen from his pee-pee. I don't know.
Okay, so let me talk about that for a second. So Charles Dance.
I was wondering when we were going to get to Charles Dance.
Charles Dance is in this movie.
A young man.
Oh,
Charles
God,
Dance. He's
he's so handsome and so young, and I am gay for him. Young Charles Dance, not 70-year-old Charles Dance. So Charles Dance is Tywin Lannister from Game of Thrones, in case you didn't know the name. And he is a young, handsome man, let me say it again, in this movie. And like we were watching in the beginning, in some movies it says like starring, Sigourney Weaver, and then Charles Dance flashed on the screen. I'm like, Charles Dance is in this movie? And then, and sure enough, he was.
So like, of course, after that, you have to look for him.
Yeah.
And as soon as we saw, is that Charles? That's Charles Dance.
It's kind of like the same thing, like when I watched the 1987 Predator with 40-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Right.
Oh man, heartthrob.
Right.
Holy crap! So like, I like 40-year-old. Actually, I think he's like 38 or 39 in that.
Sorry. I thought you were about to finish that sentence with, I like 40-year-old men. Because we're talking
well,
about,
I do.
Because we're talking about 40-year-old Charles Dance and 40-year-old Arnold. And I literally thought you were about to say, I like 40-year-old men. And I was like, this is where he says it.
I like women and 40-year-old men.
Power to you, brother.
Well, I mean, I do.
You know I ain't judging you.
That I'm gay for 40-year-old Arnold Schwarzenegger and 43-year-old Charles Dance.
And we established last night when we watched the movie that I was too.
So anyway, but yeah, it's just interesting to see that, like a 30-year-old movie and see people that you're used to watching being old and shit.
Right.
Okay, so what I started this for is, so Kelly mentioned that that Ripley is a horny bitch in this, and he is right.
Yeah.
So Charles Dance is the Dr. Clemens, I believe is his name, Mr. Clemens.
Yes, it was Clemens. I kept wanting to say Cummings, so we were close.
Cummings.
No, and I don't even mean that like pun not intended. I literally just the name Cummings kept popping into my head.
So Mr. Clemens is the doctor. I'm just gonna call him Charles Dance though.
Yeah, because that's who he is.
So he's the doctor, and she had her shower or whatever, and she like puts a big smile on her face, and she says to him, "Are you attracted to me?" Like just flat out, just blatant.
I want to jump in here though,
real
quick, because y'all got to know something. Okay, this was not the first sighting of horny Ripley that we got. She got dressed in the gross inmate fatigues and everything, and went into the chow hall and sat down in front of a convicted rapist, surrounded by other rapists. And he
we don't know if they were rapists too.
Well, they had mentioned previously that several of them were rapists.
Oh yeah, because Rock from the '90s sitcom Rock, ROC, was in this movie. So you're talking about when he was like, these men are killers and rapists and stuff.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's we knew that they were killers and rapists because of that. But in this moment, she sits down in front of Rock, and he says basically along the lines of, "You shouldn't be in here." And he calls out to himself, and he says, "I'm a murderer and rapist of women," he says specifically. And she says, "What are you waiting for?" She basically goes, "Fucking prove it." And then later, so that got her all worked up. She was all in a fucking tizzy about that because a bunch of dudes didn't gangbang her. And then it's just like 2 scenes later, she's with Clemens, and she's like, "Are you attracted to me like that?" Because there's a bunch of dudes that didn't fuck me a minute ago. And so I kind of need to know. And then they do the horizontal monster mash, and everything is right in her world. Did not expect to see it, though. I was not expecting her to get laid in this movie.
So to wrap up the summary, They fight the alien. They use a elaborate system of tunnels and doors to lure it into a place where they could pour boiling hot lead on it.
Yep.
And kill it that way. And then so they did that. Well, do you want to talk about the exploding alien?
Yes, I
Please do.
Because science. And I want anybody watching this, any of our 3 regular viewers that are watching this, if you know more about science than I do, power to you. I'd like to have a discussion about this in the comments section.
Leave a comment, please.
So I understand thermodynamics to an extent, and from personal experience, I understand what hot metal does when it cools too fast. And I've seen it happen in real life. I've been right next to and helping my grandfather weld an engine block, and then watched him cool it down too fast and it crack. It's like spider webs on this metal.
Okay.
I know it can do that. So what happened was tons and tons of molten lead were poured on top of this cow Xeno hybrid. And you would think, oh, he's dead. Well, he wasn't. Thanks to, I assume, some kind of exoskeleton or whatever. He crawls out of the molten lead, and it's still stuck to him. And Ripley sets off the sprinkler system, water hits him, and he explodes into 1,000 pieces.
Violently.
Yeah, like a cherry bomb in a toilet. Just...
What about like an M80 in a watermelon?
Like an M80 in a watermelon. Like a black cat in a frog's ass. Just blam! Everywhere. Now, it's my experience and my understanding that wouldn't happen. That it would be more of like a... like freeze and then like shatter and fall. Not shatter, kablam! Like it made an explosion sound. And there were pieces everywhere. That was too much, Hollywood. That was too much. It would have been just as cool to watch this thing like freeze into a fucking statue and then just kind of like shatter into pieces.
So they probably did that on the set. They probably did like a shatter thing and then it fell. And the director was like, "No, fuck that. Put some dynamite in that bitch.
Put an M80 up its asshole. Make it explode." So I was a little disappointed about that. I was a little disappointed about a lot of stuff with the movie.
But that's how they killed it.
Yeah.
They put liquid hot lead on it.
Molten lead.
And then rapidly cooled it with cold water and it exploded.
Yep.
So now we still have the queen inside Ripley. Mm-hmm. And so she knows that the only way to stop that is to kill herself. And so she does like a backwards dive into the lava.
Well, this wasn't even... she didn't even do that into like the molten lead. She did it into the big furnace where they cremated the other bodies.
That's why I said lava.
Well, I thought it was like an engine almost, like a big furnace. I don't think there was like any liquid aspect to it.
Well, it was
just fire.
It was orange and bright.
So lava. Fair. Yeah. Fine. I'll concede that.
And the movie ended. So and all the while the company is trying to like get her so that they can examine it and do experiments.
Their goon squad that they sent to collect Ripley, they want her because of the specimen inside her because they want to study it and blah 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 blah. She knows that's a bad idea. And I can say, like, if I had seen this in 1992, which I wouldn't have because I was 5 years old, but had I seen this in 1992, at this point in the movie, this is when you would honestly assume Ripley was dead. You would assume that it stopped there because Alien Resurrection and all the other things they've made since wouldn't exist yet. Is Ripley in Resurrection? Mm-hmm. Okay, well then now I know that she ain't dead, or at least, I don't know, maybe it's some Harry Potter shit and the mother's love of the queen egg protected her from the fire. I don't know. I'm kind of excited to find out, though. After the podcast, Ryan and I are probably going to schedule our viewing of Resurrection. which I'm very excited about. How's that whiskey treating you, bud?
That one was a little rough.
Yeah?
But it'll get better. I put whiskey in my coffee.
Mine was good. Oh, you had some, God, what's it called? There's a name for that. It's not Irish coffee, because that's a specific thing. But there's a name for the kind of coffee, it's like bourbon and coffee. It's Jack Daniels and coffee. It's amazing.
I wouldn't know.
There's another variation of it that I'm in love with. That's whiskey and maple syrup and coffee. Yeah. So good. They mention it a couple of times in the movie Polar with Mads Mikkelsen, the Netflix original.
Okay, yeah.
Where it's like an Edgar Wright version of John Wick. It's pretty fucking good.
We should do Polar.
You've seen it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was good shit.
Yeah.
And we should do Polar.
We talked about that a couple of podcasts ago, how it was like Smoking Aces.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so, Mr. Kelly, did you like the movie?
I liked it. Yes.
You did not love it.
No. And I could have liked it more. There are a lot of things they could have done different to make me like it more. So this movie had a lot less action and a lot more talking in it. It was a lot of setup. It was a lot of Ripley trying to fuck things. It was a lot of Charles Dance and like his backstory, and like a lot of the story of this colony and like the inmates. And they mentioned like 5,000 people, and then like they're like, we have 25 inmates here, and you don't know what's fucking going on. And that's the part that irritates me. Is this movie was mostly setup with minimal action. They should have done a good job at the setup. They should have done a better job of making the conversations be more realistic, or the interactions with the humans between each other more realistic. The writing could have been a million times better there. And I would have been intrigued even though there wasn't as much action. Like Charles Dance asking Ripley repeatedly, like, what the fuck are we looking for? What are you so paranoid about? What are you freaking out about? And she won't tell him. For no reason other than she fucked him, I guess, is the only reason she seems to be withholding this information. But she told the administrator everything. Like, she goes into the administrator's office, and his assistant is right there, and she opens up to him and says, hey, there's these fucking Xeno things, and they bust out of people's chests, and they killed everybody I've ever known, like 3 other fucking times. This shit's terrible, and of course he doesn't believe her. And so she goes back to Charles Dance, the one person she seems to care anything about whatsoever, and refuses to tell him anything. That's not how that interaction would go whatsoever.
Yeah.
That's never how that would go. And it was very unnatural. The conversations between the inmates were unnatural, and not just because some of them had found religion and some of them didn't. It was because the writing was garbage for that part of it. They wrote the conversation piece like it was an action movie. But then they only put 20 minutes worth of action into it.
Bastards.
Bastards. Alien Resurrection. When was that one made? This one was made in 92.
Alien Resurrection released in 99.
Okay. So we have Alien in 79, Aliens in 86, Alien 3 in 92, and then Resurrection in 99?
Yep.
Okay. And then Prometheus was years and years after. Wasn't that like 2010? 2015?
Oh, well, no, I think like 2010 or 2012 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
and it
big
got
gap
so
there.
much hate. Oh my God.
I can attest to that. I heard lots of hate about it. I did hear a lot of good things. I heard a lot of people say they really loved it, but I heard way more people say it was hot, stinky garbage.
It was for the same reasons as like everyone hates the new Star Wars movies.
Oh, because they're fuddy-duddies. The new Star Wars movies are fine, people. I get the first one had a lot of lens flare, but fuck you. Not everything has to just be the original shit. Assholes.
Are you thinking of Star Trek, maybe?
What did you say?
Star Wars.
Oh, okay. Same thing. All right,
J.J. Abrams, motherfucker.
Times fucking change. Everything that I said, just forget I said J.J. Abrams and Lens Flare. Everything else applies.
Yeah, I saw the original of that, the Star Trek reboot, and oh my god, the bridge scene with the lens flare. Like
J.J. Abrams released a press statement after that movie apologizing. He literally got up in front of people and said, "That was too much. I'm sorry."
But like, it's the same thing. Like, people, same reason people hate Nickelback, even though Nickelback rocks.
Right.
And, like, they're great performers, and their music is
I've been to a Nickelback concert.
good.
It was kick-ass.
And yeah, it was great, wasn't it?
And even at their worst, so let's talk about Nickelback for 2 fucking seconds.
Okay.
Even at their worst, whether anybody wants to admit it or not, Nickelback is a fucking gateway band. Nickelback is the music that you listen to when you start learning that there's other fucking music out there. Like, sure, Nickelback isn't heavy fucking metal or screamo or nerdcore or all the crazy fucking things out there. Nickelback is the shit that people listen to that introduces them to other genres of music. They're a gateway band.
Okay.
So, fuck you if you don't like Nickelback.
Dang.
Because you secretly do. You just want to be a cool kid and say you don't.
But I know that, I guess there was some issues with the lore, which I'm not familiar with. And we're talking about Prometheus.
In Prometheus? Okay.
So I can't speak to that.
Like inconsistencies?
I think so. Now, so last night we were watching Alien 3, and we were talking about watching the rest of the movies. And so and this is when we talked about we're going to bring up some images of the movie Alien 1979 that are going to be appearing in Prometheus. Mm-hmm. That you will need to see.
That I will need to see, so I have some sort of context for when I see them in the movie.
Yep.
Okay. And I needed to Google the Prometheus sequel, or the one after Prometheus, because I didn't know there was one. All these other movies that we've talked about, I knew existed. I just had never seen them. The one you mentioned, I had no idea. Prometheus. It was 2012 for Prometheus, by the way.
And then there was another one in, like, 2015, I think.
Alien Covenant.
Yep.
I Googled Prometheus 2, and it said Alien Covenant.
There we go.
So it knew exactly what the fuck I was talking about. That just came out in 2017.
Oh, shit.
So that's barely 2 years old, depending on what month it came out. Yeah. Okay. Is Sigourney Weaver in that one? She's not in Prometheus either, because this is supposed to be like a prequel, right?
Yeah, this is way before.
Yeah. So it would be stupid for her to have been in that one. The Alien Covenant, is it... You don't know if it's a continuation of Prometheus or if it jumps back to the end of Resurrection?
I can't remember. I've seen it. I just can't remember shit.
Okay.
It was that good that I can't remember. Like it. I will say that it was uninspired.
Okay.
I liked Prometheus a lot more.
Okay. Still got to watch it.
Yeah.
We still got to... Literally, when we get done with this, guys, the only Alien movie we will not have seen, like, for this, would be Alien. The very first one. Because after we watched Aliens, we decided there was really no need to backtrack. Mm-hmm. We knew all the shit that we needed to know that had happened before. There's really no need to backtrack, so we're not watching that one. And you can't make me, so shut up.
Sure.
I don't know, maybe people will like me if I develop, like, a mean personality or something.
I won't like you.
I don't... Well, I mean, just for the podcast.
Oh,
not,
okay.
like, in real life.
So you'll be an asshole while we're on camera and then turn it
off.
off.
To the camera.
Okay.
Not even to you. Like, we're still, like, BFFs. But, like, fuck those guys. I'm kidding. I love all of you.
All three of you.
Like, literally, if you're watching this, we are 35 minutes into this podcast. Whether you've skipped to this part or have watched the past 35 minutes, I love you. I truly do.
Well, Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Ryan.
I am I don't really know how to say this. I don't want to.
Oh my God, are you gonna propose?
Not to you.
Oh.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
No, I've been interacting a lot with a streamer, and I feel like we're buds now.
Oh.
And I have invited him to be on the podcast.
Is this the super smart guy? Or no, not super smart guy. The super positive guy.
Yeah,
Super positive guy.
that's him. Yep. He's like 50 years old, and he's what I admire about him. What's funny?
You mentioned his age. He's 50 years old. And so my immediate thought was, Ryan is not attracted to him because he's not a 40-year-old man.
He's 10 years too old for me.
He's no longer in his 40s, so Mr. Ryan's not attracted to him, which is why he's never mentioned his looks.
So when I enter into gay relationships, I make them sign a contract.
For the first time
when you
ever.
turn 44, relationship's over.
Boom, done.
No, so I'm not going to talk much about, like, I know some stuff about him, but I'm not going to talk about it here because he doesn't really, like, I don't know how much of himself he's going to want to reveal. Like, he doesn't like to talk about his work or his past at all during his streams.
And so it's not really our place to put it out there if he's not putting it out there.
Correct.
Right. So.
But he is, if you're watching this and you enjoy Twitch, check out LoadFix. All one word, LoadFix.
I will put a link to his Twitch channel in the description below.
Excellent.
When this video posts.
And so I thought about having him on to do like a non-movie podcast. I mean, if he wants to do a movie, that's cool too. But I was thinking like we could do like a positivity thing or something.
Especially like if we could tie the two in. If there's a movie that he really likes that ties into positivity and stuff like that, we could watch that movie and talk about that movie.
Indeed.
I
I will reveal, and this is something he's talked about a lot on his streams. He is a break dancer, or he used to be. He used to do the worm like a motherfucker in the 80s.
If he used to could, I wonder if he might could again.
Well, he's got a bad back now, he says.
From all the worming?
Yep.
From all the worming.
He says that doing the worm so much has directly affected his back situation.
Well, I mean, humans aren't meant to be worms. So that makes perfect sense to me, Mr. Ryan.
But yeah, but anyway, so being part of his community now, and I really admire him because he's only been on Twitch since October, and his stream is wildly more successful than ours.
Well, there's a very reasonable explanation for that.
Yes, there is.
Because we suck.
Oh, that's not what I was going to say.
Me either.
No, he's a lot more consistent, or we're consistent, but he streams a lot more than we do. So like he's always on in the evenings, like 3 times a week.
Yeah, and we're Mondays and Tuesdays once a week, which we are pretty consistent
for
about
an hour.
Yeah, we are pretty consistent about it, but it's an hour-long podcast once a week.
Yeah, and he's on for like 3 hours at a time for 3 days a week.
Yeah.
But he's so what I like about it, he's got a very, very mature community that follows him. And like everyone that follows him is very just like a cool person. And so I am now part of this, and we have actually gained some followers because of it.
Nice.
Because he was actually yesterday. This happened yesterday. He was asking because like there was some other people, because he used to be on Mixer. You know what Mixer is? Mm-hmm. So he was on Mixer for a long ass time and switched over to Twitch, and he likes Twitch way better than Mixer.
Everybody does. Mixer sucks.
Okay.
And I don't mean that because we do this on Twitch. Mixer actually does suck. I've looked into it for us, and it sucks.
And I know basically nothing about it. But he always talks about how he came from Mixer, and he brought his fans over from Mixer. And now some of those people, because like we were talking the other day, yesterday in fact, and he's like, oh, because my name is Storm on my personal account is Storm on Twitch, And he's like, "Oh yeah, Storm. I never thought to ask you. Do you stream? We can get these guys to follow you and everything." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do stream, but not as Storm." And he's like, "Okay, well, just post your channel." And so I did, and like some people followed.
Nice. That's exposure, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we need. And like we talked about before, and I'll mention it to you now because anybody watching this 40 minutes in, even if you skipped here, we love you. But now would be a good time for me to talk about, we have a Patreon now. And so it makes me a little uncomfortable. I've talked to Ryan about this before. It makes me a little uncomfortable to ask people for money in my personal life or for this. It bothers me to go, "Oh, you like me? Give me money then." That feels weird. But I'm coming to terms with it because we have a solid plan for what the money is going to go to. And that makes me feel a lot better.
And it's going to go into the stream and the podcast.
Exactly. It's not I'm asking people to subscribe to our Patreon. Excuse me, and send me money every month so I can go and get a new dick tattoo or whatever it is that I like to do. Don't judge me.
A new one, as in you already have one.
Yes, one.
I need a drink.
Any whore. No, in all seriousness, the money will go to helping us get hosted on sites like Spotify and Pandora, Google Music,
Apple,
Soundwave, Apple iTunes, Apple Play, whatever those things are. I don't have Apple devices. I know iTunes is still a thing.
It's a big thing.
Yeah, stuff like that. There are sites that we can host the audio version of these podcasts on, and then pay money to be able to then host our podcast on all these other sites through these hosting companies. That costs money, as it should. If you're good at something, don't do it for free. You shouldn't host people's stuff and offer to do all this work for free. I get that costs money, but Ryan and I make no money doing this. If anything, it costs money because Mr. Ryan buys us a bottle of whiskey every couple of weeks, and I spend the gas money driving back and forth, and then Ryan spends gas money driving to my house so we can watch the movie for the podcast. And so if anything, this costs us money, and that's leaving out the microphones, the splitters, all of the cabling, the new professional lighting and green screen, and like getting this life-size alien in here was fucking nuts.
And this giant human.
And this giant Sigourney Weaver.
So, full disclosure, though, the majority of the stuff in this room was paid for by when I had a well-paying job.
True. But it was still all to go to this. It was all for Severe
Yes.
Cinema. That's
Yep.
why he bought it all. It was from when we were doing movie roasts and reviews, and then switched to podcasts. It was for all that stuff. It's always been for Severe Cinema. And so regardless of what money you use to pay for it, it cost you hundreds of dollars
Okay.
to do all this.
Fair enough.
So that being said, it's not like we feel like you guys owe us money for our content. It's we ask you for money for our content so that we can get it out to more people and get it more popular. Because the people that do watch this are consistent. The people that do watch this say, you guys are fucking awesome. If more people knew about you, more people would like you. Apparently, we're well-liked to the people that like us. And I want to give that a shot. If we get it out there and 10 million people listen to our podcast and 2 of them follow us, okay, maybe we kind of suck. And we should reevaluate. But we need to know that. We need to give that a shot.
Million.
We need
and 2 followers.
Yeah. But we need to give it a shot. We need to know whether or not that's the case. If our problem is exposure, we want to try and get exposure. And that's where we need you guys. We need you to recruit your friends. Send them a Facebook message and say, hey, listen to this podcast. These guys like to talk about movies. And, like, the fat one is dumb. And, you know, whatever you want to say. Don't get your eyes all big. You're not the fat one.
No, I'm cringing because you said that.
Oh. Oh, you don't think I'm dumb?
No.
Aww. Somebody likes me.
Did you forget our conversation last night?
I'm not even 40. Anyway.
So yeah, in about, what are you, 31?
I'm 31, so in about 9 years.
Yeah, it's on.
In about 9 years.
It's on.
Mr. Ryan's going to be like, I'm going to have you sign this paper right now that says if you're single in 9 years, your ass is mine. Anyway, so that this call for help and plea kind of turned into another gay joke. But in all seriousness, we love you guys. If you love us, help us spread the love. Like and subscribe and follow and share and donate if you want. We really appreciate it.
So should we talk about Alien 3?
Yep.
A little bit before
I think we should get back to that.
Okay. And what we can do another short plea for money at the end.
Yeah. No, we will for sure. But I was going to ask you. So the last thing we talked about before I did that was my feeling about it. About how the writing could have been better for the talky part since most of it was a talky part. Blah, blah, blah. So what is your review, your overall thoughting?
So my opinion of the movie is almost identical to yours. I didn't really think much about the writing. I mean, when I think about it now, it kind of was a little off at times. But I'm an action guy. Like, I do enjoy a good drama, but it kind of has to fall together just right. Like, I really like action and drama in the same movie, and we didn't really get that here.
It had the potential for it.
Yeah. And so, and I like apocalyptic firepower, and you did not get that in this one.
Like orbital cannons.
That would be great. You got a little gunfire there at the end when the company goon squad showed up.
Yep.
But other than that, I mean, my favorite Aliens movie has got to be the second one, Aliens, 1986. I'm a little drunk, Mr. Kelly.
When you had a big old glass of whiskey.
And some in my coffee.
Yeah, and some in your coffee.
So they had no weapons on the colony, and so like Rock, the character, I don't even know his actual character name, but the guy from the 90s sitcom Rock.
ROC.
ROC, yep. Was using a fire axe. He never used it on an alien, but
nope, just carried it around.
He
threatened a couple inmates with it, I think, a little bit, but that was about it.
And Ripley wanted him to kill her with it.
Yep.
To eliminate the final alien threat.
and he was a dick about it.
And he was a dick about it. He like took a swing, but he like made the blow land right above her head, and she's like totally accepting him man, I'm a little drunk. Expecting him to get her right in the back of the neck.
Cleave her in twain.
Yeah. But anyway, so like I like to see gunfire and things explode and things like that, and so that's why I liked Aliens and Alien Resurrection is actually really good for that too.
Good. This one was boring.
You are going to love Resurrection.
I'm excited,
bro.
So
it wasn't my kind of movie. It did, since I have never seen it. So I had seen Aliens and then Resurrection, and so with this being my first time seeing Alien 3, it actually a lot more makes sense now.
It gave extra context and stuff, but it still fell short.
So that's why I call it a transitional movie.
Yes. That makes sense.
A transition between the good ones.
Still thinking about Rock's dick move, though, man.
Yeah, it was a dick move. So let's describe that in detail.
Okay.
So you want to do it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So they're in. It almost seems like a little jail cell, but it's
yeah. There were bars.
There were bars all around, but there was like an open door. And so Ripley kind of corners Rock, who's carrying around this big fire axe.
You want another?
No, I'm all right.
All right.
You can go get one.
I'm going to
okay.
Yeah.
So, I read over my microphone.
Whoa, man. It got up too fast, Mr. Kelly.
Mr. Ryan, you going to be okay? You got up too fast?
Yep.
I don't know why anybody would do drugs past 30 when you can just stand up too fast. I mean, you good after that. But anyway, there's these bars all around, but an open door. It's almost like a jail cell. And she ends up cornering Rock. That's what we call him because I don't remember his actual character name. And she kind of corners him, and she's telling him outright, even though she wouldn't say anything to the guy she boned. She's telling him, hey, they're not killing me because I have the queen baby inside of me. And he goes, what the fuck you talking about? And she explains it again and says, the queen's inside of me, it won't kill me. You have to kill me. The queen inside me, if it hatches and or whatever, it can
gonna be fucked.
It can lay thousands. It could destroy the universe, she says. Which, I don't know. Even the whole universe thing, I was like, the whole universe, though? How are they going to get off this planet, though? But anyway.
So if you're a Mass Effect fan, think of the Rachni.
Right. There you go. So, any slut, she's explaining this to him, and you have to kill me. If this thing hatches, everybody dead. You have to axe me. And so she tells him matter-of-factly, like, you're going to kill me right now. And so she turns around and she, like, sticks her head in the bars a little bit.
For some reason.
For some reason, she's kind of like this with the bars. And he's behind her with the axe. And then what he should have done was just say, no, I'm not going to kill you, and then walk away. Instead, what he did is he swung this big-ass fucking fire axe and hit the metal bars just above her head, scaring the shit out of her. And then told her, no, I'm not going to kill you, because he wanted to use the fact that the Xeno wasn't going to kill her to their advantage, which was a stupid idea, but whatever.
When he took the swing, we both were watching a movie last night. We were both like, man, that was a dick move.
It was. It was such a shitty thing to do.
Oh, Rock.
What a dick you were.
So I can't talk about the tie-ins because that would reveal spoilers for Resurrection.
But we can talk about them after Resurrection.
Indeed.
When we do the podcast for Resurrection.
So we're going to have like a 2-hour-long podcast for Resurrection.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
We'll do what we got to do.
If it ends up that long, then so be it. But I don't think it will.
Yeah. Usually, like, we're done right about an hour.
Mm-hmm. We've had a couple hour-and-a-half ones.
Yeah. But
I don't remember what they were.
Well, those were less about the movie and more like we had people on Twitch.
Oh yeah,
having conversation and stuff like that, and blah 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 blah.
Which we like that.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. YouTube comments, Twitch comments. Most of our podcasts we stream live and record. So while we're streaming live, come and say hey. Argue with us, correct us, give us questions and comments and concerns. We love it. We love talking to you weirdos.
Mr. Kelly?
Mr. Ryan?
What do you think about getting a Discord? Where people can leave like messages for us and shit.
I'm sure that's a good idea. That's a good idea, Mr. Ryan.
That's how I've been talking to Loadfix.
Yeah? All right.
On his Discord.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, we already have everything else except like an Instagram. Like, we have Facebook, Twitter.
We have a Facebook?
Yeah, we have a Facebook. Man, we had a Facebook longer than we had Twitter.
So did you watch did you watch any of IO? Our podcast of IO?
Oh, okay. No.
Okay.
More than it took for me to like put the cards in the outro subscribe buttons and stuff.
Well, I added some things.
Okay.
And since I didn't know, I added our Twitter and our Twitch. And I didn't know we had a Facebook. Otherwise, I'd add that too.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. We've got a Facebook longer than we have Twitter. Longer.
All right.
Yep. It's we got a decent, okay amount of followers on there.
He's the social media guy. I'm the editor.
Yeah. So we have a Facebook, Severe Cinema, Twitter, @Severe Cinema. We have Patreon, which is patreon.com/severecinema. We have Twitch, which is twitch.tv/severecinema.
And this is all one word. It's
yes.
Severe Cinema, no space.
Right.
Right. Okay.
Because URLs don't have spaces in them.
All right, then. I'm drunk.
That's okay.
I'm drunk.
What else was I going to say? Yeah, literally the only thing we don't have is Instagram, and that's because I'm old, and I don't know how it works. It's like with a Facebook, like I can make status updates. With Twitter, like I make little status updates, and I'm like, hey, I had fish for lunch. With Instagram, as far as I understand it, it's the same shit, but with pictures. And I don't take that many pictures. And we don't
But I do.
That you do.
By the way, if you need videographer work or voice work, I'm your man. Send Mr. Kelly a message on Twitter and or Facebook. He'll get a hold of me.
Yep. Or leave a comment below. Or it's 2019. You got ways of finding me. You got ways of getting a hold of me. And
you know how it works.
You know how it works. Just do it.
Man, Mr. Kelly, I'm drunk. And you were like, I know.
I know. And you went and got a second one.
Yep.
But you ain't got to go nowhere. Oh,
That's
God,
true.
that sentence killed me. You ain't got to go nowhere. You don't have to go anywhere, Mr. Ryan. Except right where you are. My chair is farting. I have to go somewhere. That's why I turned it down, because right now I'm stone cold sober. If I have another big-ass glass of whiskey, I can't guarantee that.
So
Excuse me.
we failed to talk about Alien 3 some more.
No, we didn't. You might have been drunk and forgot, but you said, let's talk about Alien 3 some more. So we did. You gave your entire synopsis on it and how you felt about it, and then we got back off of it.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Ryan, I think we might need to wrap this up.
Okay.
On account of you intoxicated.
I don't want to.
You don't want to wrap it up? Mm-mm. You just want to be drunk on camera for a while?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Y'all enjoy the stylings of Mr. Ryan. I'm going to be over here just watching. Oh, shit. Mr. Ryan, I think we about wrap it up.
Okay.
Good?
Yep.
All right. Again, we have been Severe Cinema. This is, if you've watched this far, you know who we are. But this is who we are. We watch movies, play video games, and we talk about them.
Our podcasts are not restricted to movies.
They are not. Sometimes we talk about other stuff.
Like this one.
Sometimes we talk about video games. Sometimes we talk about current events and stuff like that if the mood strikes. But we like talking about movies, so that's what we end up doing the majority of. It's not restricted to that at all, especially when we live stream. People can come and talk to us about anything. You can find us on Twitter. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Find us on Twitter at Severe Cinema. It's Severe Cinema on Facebook. It's twitch.tv/Severe Cinema for Twitch. We're patreon.com/Severe Cinema. If you would like to donate, we would very much appreciate that so we can expand. And then Mr. Ryan had a great idea of making a Discord, and I think I'm going to make a Discord. I think I'm going to do that, and I will let you guys know when that's done and what that is and all that stuff, and we'll get it done.
Sounds good, Mr. Kelly.
Sound good? All right. Well, we have been Severe Cinema. You have been fantastic. And as always, we'll see you next time.